let's start with Superfast 50 setting the record straight. Union Minister Kiran Rijiju has hit out at the opposition, saying that some people in India still haven't gotten over the colonial intoxication. They consider BBC above the Supreme Court of India and lower the country's dignity and image to any extent to please their model masters. Stepping up attack on Prime Minister Modi, Congress leader Rashid Alvi asked what is the government scared of and why is the BBC documentary being blocked in the country.
Is a part of history, very dreadful chapter of this history, whether it is BBC or any other channel or organization, if they are making any documentary, you can't deny it. This government and our Prime Minister, if they want to eliminate this chapter of the history, it is not possible.
Meanwhile, RJD2 attacked Prime Minister over the documentary by BBC. RJD leader said that the government is trying to filter the truth by blocking the documentary. This even as the Supreme Court has given the Prime Minister clean sheet in the 2002 riots case.
कि तारीफों के पुल बांधे जाते तो सरकार ये निर्णय नहीं लेती। 2002 में गोधरा दंगा को लेकर के उसमें जो बातें दिखाई जानी थी उसको लेकर सरकार ने रोक लगा दी। तो सरकार की अपनी मनमानी है।
Meanwhile, Karnataka-based author and writer K.S. Bhagwan has stoked a massive row after making a controversial remark about Lord Ram and Goddess Sita. K.S. Bhagwan claimed that Valmiki Ramayana states Lord Ram used to sit with his wife Sita every afternoon and drink wine. Meanwhile, pro-Hindu organizations have now hit out at K.S. Bhagwan for making derogatory statements against Lord Ram, further demanding action and requesting the Karnataka High Court to cancel the conditional bail given to the writer.
देखिए, मेरा मानना है कि इस तरीके के बयानात लोगों की आस्था और लोगों के सेंटिमेंट्स के साथ।
Amid speculations of JDU leader Upendra Kushwaha's possibility of joining the BJP, Bihar Chief Minister has now hit back, saying Upendra Kushwaha cannot be the one complaining.
उपेंद्र कुशवाहा जी की नजदीकी बढ़ रही है।
उपेंद्र कुशवाहा जी को कह दीजिए हमसे बतिया। वो तो बाहर छोड़ के 2-3 बार गए, फिर आए अपने। सर, तो उनकी क्या इच्छा है हमको तो नहीं मालूम है।
अभी पटना में रहते ही हैं।
अभी तो उनकी तबीयत खराब हमको पता चला है, तो हम तो बाहर हैं, हालचाल ले लेंगे। लेकिन अब जो कोई बात आ रही है, वैसे तो सबको अपना अपना अधिकार है। देखिए, हमको जानकारी नहीं है कि उनका कुछ अभी हाल ही में मिले हैं, तब पक्षी में बोल रहे थे। लेकिन अगर ऐसी कोई बात है तो हमको नहीं पता। पूछ लेंगे, स्वस्थ हो जाएंगे, आएंगे तो पूछेंगे अभी क्या मामला है।
सर, The J&K police has registered an FIR in the Narwal blast today after twin explosion rocked Jammu city that caused injuries to at least 9 people. Meanwhile, the NI teams are also seen visiting the location and conducting an investigation to probe the terror link. Meanwhile, raising questions over the Narwal twin blast, the TMC has hit out at the Home Minister Amit Shah, saying that, and I quote, in a recent Intel Bureau conference, Shah said that the situation in the state is back to normal. BJP continues to pick and choose stories that water down the complex reality. TMC was in the statement that has been issued by the Trinamool Congress. Meanwhile, the Union Sports Ministry has suspended all activities of the Wrestling Federation of India. The government has also suspended the Federation's Assistant Secretary Vinod Tomar. The WFI was scheduled to hold an annual general meet in Gonda, but the meet too now stands cancelled. Meanwhile, the government has now asked the Federation President Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh to step aside until an oversight committee being appointed completes a thorough probe into the accusations levelled against him, and the names of the panel members are to be announced, expected to be announced today. And in more news coming in from across the country, the demolition of the structure declared unsafe after being affected by land subsidence has started again in JOSHIMATH after a gap due to heavy snowfall in the area. Meanwhile, Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, while reviewing the ongoing relief work, called for an expeditious planning for the people of JOSHIMATH. In West Bengal, several fresh crude bombs were found from an open field located near the residence of Trinamool Congress leader Arabul Islam. This comes a day after violent clash was reported between the Indian Secular Front activists and the TMC in Kolkata area, where various people were injured as well. The Delhi police, meanwhile, has prepared a 300-page draft charge sheet and 100 witnesses in the SHRADDHA murder case. This comes in connection with the case that shook the entire country, wherein accused Aftab murdered his live-in partner SHRADDHA and later dismembered her body into 35 parts and dumped it across the capital. A security guard at an apartment in Bengaluru was assaulted by a delivery boy and his friends after a verbal altercation broke out between the two over security check. A case has now been registered and the probe is now underway. Meanwhile, the BJP slammed the Congress in Rajasthan over a purported video of a woman being forcibly moved out of a public hearing at a residence of State Women and Child Development Minister Mamta Bhupesh, targeting the ruling party in the state. The BJP said that it shows how the Congress government and its ministers work. Meanwhile, the Tirumala temple has ordered a probe into a security lapse after an alleged drone video of temple went viral. This, of course, as flying of drone in the premises in the temple is banned, and a case has also been registered in connection with the incident.
After seeing this development in the social media, immediately our vigilance and security department people have started investigating who started this scrolling first, this drone shots of Lord Venkateshwara Mandir. Immediately they have identified also, by midnight they have identified the person who started scrolling this. That company is from Hyderabad. They are going to book the case on him.
Well, a case has been registered against 10, including Vice Chancellor of Prayagraj University and 50 others, for alleged illegal conversion of a man. The victim has claimed that he was being lured into adopting Christianity on pretext of financial aid. Meanwhile, in Bihar's Kemu district, an elderly teacher crossing the road on a bicycle was thrashed with sticks by two women constables. This video is reported to have been of Friday and has raised questions over the law and order situation in the state of Bihar.
हमारे संज्ञान में आया है, इसमें एसडीपीओ भभुआ को इस पूरे मामले की जांच कर 24 घंटे के अंदर प्रतिवेदन की मांग की गई है। जैसे रिपोर्ट आता है हम लोग सख्त कार्रवाई करेंगे। प्रथम दृष्टया जो भी देख के लग रहा है ये पुलिस की छवि धूमिल करने वाला लग रहा है, ये इस प्रकार की कृत्य पुलिस से अपेक्षित नहीं है। बिल्कुल सख्त कार्रवाई इसमें करेंगे।
पूछताछ में क्या पता चला है?
अभी रिपोर्ट आ जाता है तो उसके बाद हम कार्रवाई करते हैं।
Meanwhile, ahead of Assembly elections, Central Forces conducted a flag march in Tripura's Agartala. Remember, the elections are slated to be held in the state on 16th of February. Meanwhile, Bharat Biotech's intranasal COVID vaccine would be launched on 26th of January. Bharat Biotech, which created the intramuscular COVID vaccine, Covaxin, had previously stated in December that its nasal vaccine would be available by the 4th week of January. And moving on to more news coming in from UP's Ghaziabad, where the body of a person identified as Akshay was found in a disembodied state. The police conducted search operations and sent the body for post-mortem. So far, one accused has been arrested and a love angle is suspected in this case.
थाना कोड़ा पर पुश्ता रोड के नजदीक एक लाश की सूचना मिली। तत्काल मौके पर पहुंच के शव को कब्जे में लिया गया और उसकी शिनाख्त अक्षय निवासी कोटपुती राजस्थान के रूप में की गई। मामले की गंभीरता को देखते हुए तत्काल टीमों का गठन किया गया एवं उसमें मेन अभियुक्त मीलाल प्रजापति निवासी कोड़ा की गिरफ्तारी पुलिस द्वारा कर ली गई है। अभियुक्त से पूछताछ में उसने बताया कि अपनी पत्नी के साथ मृतक के अवैध संबंधों को लेकर शक के चलते उसकी मृतक की हत्या कर दी गई है। उसके द्वारा मृतक की हत्या कर दी गई और अभियुक्त की निशानदेही पर मृतक के कपड़े भी बरामद कर लिए गए हैं। आगे की वैधानिक कार्रवाई की जा रही है।
Meanwhile, a case of murder is to be lodged against TMC Panchayat member and her husband after the recovery of a dead body of a 6-year-old child that was recovered from a septic tank in South 24 Parganas district. However, with the police resisting the registration of the case, the situation remains tense in the area. Meanwhile, a murder case has been registered against gangster-turned-politician Mukhtar Ansari in Ghazipur in connection with the 2001 Usri Chati gang war case. In a big move castes were approved to be included on list. 22 castes were listed to be approved on socially and economically backward classes by the Odisha cabinet. The cabinet notification also added that it will make any specific measures, take any measures, more measures for the improvement of any socially and educationally backward classes of citizens of the Indian Constitution. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh arrived at Singrauli Airport of Madhya Pradesh to attend an event. The Defence Minister would also be attending the foundation stone laying ceremony of a medical college, mining school and several other projects. Meanwhile, former terrorist Sher Khan, who was active from 2001 through 2006 in Kishtwar and surrendered in Srinagar, was released after spending 13 years in jail. And in these visuals that have surfaced, Sher Khan can be seen hoisting the national flag at his residence.
जनाब, हम पहले गए थे इस गलत रास्ते पर, हमने समझा ये रास्ता गलत है। अब हम कौमी दायरे में वापस आ गए। हमने ये सोचा हम भी हिंदुस्तान के लिए अगर हमारी जान भी देनी पड़े, खोनी पड़े तो हम तैयार हैं। मगर ये सोचना है, हमारा भी सोचना है, गवर्नमेंट ने तवज्जो देनी, हमारी तरफ हमारा भी ख्याल रखना है।
Now, with 4 days to go for Republic Day, patriotic fervour is on display in the national capital. Republic reported from Delhi's Cant, where preview of Tableau was showcased.
Now we are here at Kariyappa ground in Delhi, Cant, where the tableau of different states are being showcased. First of all, let me try to show you pictures of this tableau, and this tableau is from Arunachal Pradesh, where the dancers from Arunachal Pradesh are now preparing. Beg your pardon, this is from Andhra Pradesh, not from Arunachal Pradesh. This is from Andhra Pradesh, and here the dancers are dancing on the folk dance.
Meanwhile, Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama lauded India's secular principles at the Indian Institute of Public Administration. Addressing the gathering, Dalai Lama, recalling his meetings with Indian Prime Ministers Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi and Lal Bahadur Shastri, said India is a democratic country and all major and celebrates all traditions.
I really appreciate at first day I learned those also the ancient Indian thought. Now after staying here as a guest of Indian government, then those knowledge is not just a mere knowledge, but a practical thing.
In Pakistan, a married Hindu woman was abducted and forcibly converted 4 days ago and then returned back to her parents. Expressing concerns over the matter, BJP leader Manjinder Singh Sirsa has now sought MEA intervention. Exposing Pakistan's anti-India propaganda, the government has issued circular for Pak schools to observe Kashmir Solidarity Day and hold provocative hate speeches. And in more news coming in from across the globe, the Labour Party has elected Chris Hipkins to take on the role as the new Prime Minister of the country. After the resignation of Ardern from the post, he will be sworn in as the 41st Prime Minister on Wednesday.
As I said yesterday, this is the biggest privilege and the biggest responsibility of my life. I am energised and excited by the challenge that lies ahead. New Zealand is the greatest little country in the world.
As unrest continues on the streets of Lima, protesters are now demanding the release of students and protesters detained at the National University. The protesters demand new general elections, fresh general elections and resignation of the current Prime Minister. Meanwhile, the new pension reform proposed by the French President Emmanuel Macron's government that aims to increase the retirement age from 62 to 64 is being met with resistance, with people coming on the streets demanding the withdrawal of the reform. Meanwhile, in news from the US, where the FBI searched President Joe Biden's house in Delaware and located 6 additional documents containing classified markings and also took possession of some of his notes. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that 2 years into President Biden's administration, the US is in a better place in the world and that the US is better positioned to address global issues.
2 years in, what it's safe to say from my perspective at least is that we're in a better place in the world than we were. The first instruction that I got from President Biden on taking the job was get out there, re-energize, rejuvenate, re-engage our alliances, our partnerships, our work in international organizations. And the reason he was so determined that we do that is that if you're looking around at all of the issues that are actually having an impact on the lives of pretty much everyone in this room.
Speaking at a news conference, the mayor of Atlanta said that order was restored in the areas facing violent protests in wake of death of an environmental activist. The mayor has warned the crowd of protesters that they would be arrested and would be held accountable as well. Meanwhile, a few hundred pro-Kurdish and anti-NATO protesters held up flags with the face of imprisoned Kurdish rebel leader and walked over with a photo of Turkish President Erdogan. This is likely to have complications in Swedish government's efforts to improve ties with Turkey. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of Israelis gathered in Tel Aviv to protest against the Prime Minister Netanyahu's new government. Protesters were seen raising Israeli flags and banners that read, "The Supreme Court and Israel, we have a problem." From our Prime Minister, the leader of main opposition party also joined the citizens.
They're able to do a lot of things, and it's okay. I don't like what they do, but that's fair. It's a different political perspective. But they do not have the right to change the basic element of Israel being a Jewish democratic country, which allows each and every person, regardless of sex or religion or anything else, to practice their own beliefs in Israel.
Meanwhile, Germany has not decided if they want to send tanks to aid Ukraine for the current situation. German Defense Minister said that no decision has been taken as of yet. Meanwhile, Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida announced plans to prepare for an exit plan for COVID-19 and downgrade its status in the spring to level equivalent to seasonal flu. The announcement comes as Japan faces record levels of COVID-19 deaths among elderly patients in what can be regarded as country's 8th wave. And in news from the world of sports, China-Taiwan pairing of the duo defeated Cristina Bosca of Spain of Japan in the second round of women's doubles at the Australian Open on Sunday. In a fourth round showdown between two of last year's Grand Slam champions, seed Elena Rybakina of Kazakhstan won over world number 1 Swiatek of Poland to make her first Australian Open quarterfinal. Meanwhile, Rocky Davis-Thompson continued his excellent form at the American Express as he carded a 67 for a share of the lead with world number 4 John Ram. The pair hold a 4-shot lead over JT Poston and Christian, with Ram following up 2 rounds of 64 with the 65 on Saturday. Meanwhile, Pakistan has suffered a big blow ahead of next month's ICC Women's T20 World Cup with news that star pacer would miss the tournament with a finger injury. Baig, who'd recently recovered from a shoulder injury, fractured the index finger on her bowling hand during the third ODI against Australia on Saturday. Meanwhile, Bangladesh has announced their squad for ICC Women's T20 World Cup 2023. Nigar Sultana captains the 15-strong squad, which includes a number of players competing at U19 T20 World Cup, currently being held in South Africa. Chennai Football Club head coach Thomas Baderick stated his team needs to convert their chances and win in order to take their game to the next level after the Marina Matchnas shared the spoils with ATK Mohun Bagan in the second goal draw of the Indian Super League on Saturday. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta said that he has spoken to former Manchester United manager in the past and heard his brutal opinion about footballers.
Yeah, I had a few conversations, but like not formally, just with people around him and just more listening than talking, obviously.
And what did you take from the sides he put together?
we didn't speak specifically about those things, but what it really captured me was his presence, his charisma, the way he talked, and how honest and brutal he was about certain opinions that he had about the game and players.
Meanwhile, Football Club Goa head coach Carlos Pena backed his team to come through despite a poor run of results as they host Kerala Blasters FC in match week 16 of the Indian Super League on Sunday. The 24-year-old Hardik Singh has failed to recover from hamstring injury sustained at the flag end of India's second pool match against England on 15th of January. Canada rule out Japan by 5-0 to win women's ice hockey gold on Saturday on the day of competition at the FISU Winter University Games in New York City.